Welcome, my friends. Today our topic is absorption and variable costing. Right? This is a topic in your cost management area of CMA Part 1. So we will learn how to solve an essay question on absorption and variable costing, which will also explain you this topic as well. So like I have mentioned already here, that there are three types of costs: material, labor, and expenses. So they can be direct, means prime cost, or they can be indirect, means overheads, right? Now see, we have different types of costing methods. Now the costing methods can be, like the absorption costing, right? You have variable costing, you have ABC costing, activity based costing, right? Then if you talk about process costing, you have job costing, you have life cycle costing, you know similarly you have joint costing. So all these are different types of costing methods. Okay, there are two more, I mean many more, but two more which I remember right now. They are batch costing and service costing. Okay, this is not in your syllabus, these two. Okay, so the remaining everything which I have written, that is in your syllabus. So today we will talk about absorption and variable costing. So we will compare both of them, right? In the next class, we will compare absorption costing with ABC costing. So this is our target. Okay, some people are saying, yeah, target costing, that is basically a small area that is also there. Okay, that is basically a concept in which you take the reverse approach, that you set your selling price first, and then you reverse the profit margin, and then you reach a cost which is called target cost. Okay, this is also included in detail in your CMA part 2 area. So those who have taken CMA part 2 classes, they know very well that we have done the pricing area, if you remember, and we talked about target costing in detail. We have done uh, essay questions on that. So that will come in detail in part 2. Here just this concept we will study, that what is exactly target costing. So remember, there is one more concept that is called throughput costing. So that is an advanced version of variable costing, in which we assume that only material is the variable cost. Only material is the variable cost. So this we will do during the essay question. We will study this also. So you can say throughput costing is an advanced version of variable costing, in which we assume that only material is variable cost. Okay, so because in the variable costing we have labor also a variable cost, because we assume that labor is paid on hourly basis, right, or a per unit basis. But in throughput costing, the assumption is that recently the labor is not paid on the unit basis or the hourly basis. Labor is paid fixed salary, so that's why they consider labor cost also a fixed cost, right? Anyways, so the main topic for today is absorption costing and variable costing. Let us see a little bit further about it, then we will jump onto the essay question. So if I say overall, you know absorption and variable, so my friends, what is the main difference? And before we go on to this, just to remind you that we are doing the cost management area, and what is our objective here? The objective is to calculate cost. Okay, so every time the question will come, they will say, okay, calculate unit cost. What is the cost? Getting it? So all the methods will give you the cost. What is your cost? Why you need the cost? Any business you run, actually, why there are so many types of costing methods? Because, there are so many types of businesses. It can be a manufacturing organization, it can be a service organization, it can be an organization where a process is going on, oil and gas, fertilizer companies, sugar mills. So there you will use process costing where you have work in progress. Similarly, for those people who are doing the job on a, oh sorry, who are doing work on a job by job basis, like audit firms, lawyers, plumbers, electricians, furniture shop. So all of them are doing a job, right? So they will use job costing. Similarly, those companies which are research and development companies and like mobile companies, medicine companies, so they will use life cycle costing. Why? Because in life cycle costing, we consider all the cost throughout the life cycle, including the research and development cost, right? So that is a unique method. Okay. So life cycle costing is the only method in which we consider the marketing and selling and admin, after sales service support, research and development, everything as part of the product cost. So that is a unique feature of life cycle costing. In all the other methods, you need to remember that we never include general and admin cost as a product cost. Okay. Then you have joint costing, those companies which are making products, like for example, from a single raw material, they get multiple finished goods. Okay, so for example, you process oil, you can have petrol. You process crude oil, you get petrol, diesel, kerosene oil, many other gases. So that's joint costing scenario. Okay. Similarly, you can process milk, you can get butter, you can get yogurt, and so many other things. Okay, so batch costing, those companies are using with who are making the products in batches, like cake manufacturers, the companies who are making these cloths, t-shirts, jeans, all these things are made in batches, so they have to consider batch costing. Service costing, very simple for service industries, airlines, railways, even the training industry. So like that. Anyways, so we are talking about absorption variable. Okay, so absorption variable and ABC, they are mostly concerned with manufacturing operations. Okay, and they give a very nice idea about it. So let's see the main differences. Examiner can ask you also what are the main differences between them. Okay, so you need to remember. First of all, absorption costing is used for external reporting, right? You can also write in the chat box if you remember some of the differences. And variable costing is used for internal reporting, right? So basically the format which we use in absorption costing is the exact format which is recommended by International Financial Reporting Standards, which is also called the gross profit format. Okay. So that's why we use the absorption costing in external financial reporting, right? So in variable costing, we talk about, contribution margin, and we differentiate between the variable and fixed costs, which helps us in making the decisions. So that's why it is suitable for decision making. And the area which you will cover in CMA part 2, CMA part 2 is mostly based on variable costing. Okay, CMA part 2 is mostly based on which method? Variable costing. So you will talk about decision analysis, you will talk about investment decisions, all these topics. So mostly they are targeting this concept. Anyways, so this is for financial reporting purpose, definitely, right? This is for internal management accounting reporting purpose, right? Now, see, what is the major difference between them? The major difference is the treatment of fixed production overheads. Okay, fixed production overheads or fixed manufacturing overheads. So my friends, in absorption costing, we consider fixed production overheads as a product cost. As a product cost. It means you will include it in the product cost, in the unit cost, you can say, right? But in the variable costing, we consider it as a period cost. We consider it as period cost. When I say period cost, it means that you will not include it in the cost of the product. Okay, we will see this. Period cost means you will flush it out in the same period. Okay, if you say product cost, it means a little bit part of it can be transferred to the next period by incorporating it in the closing stock. Okay, so remaining everything is same. So for example, if you say, you know, direct material, direct labor, variable production overheads, same treatment. Okay, what is that treatment? You can say that here I will write for you. So see, I mean no difference. Okay, so both of these methods, they consider what? The following cost as a product cost. Both the methods, huh? So you can say, okay, direct material, direct labor, okay, and variable production overheads, right? So these three elements, both of them, they consider as a product cost. But apart from that, in absorption costing, you also consider what? You consider fixed production overhead as a product cost. Got it? This is the difference. Now, if I talk about period cost, so everything what is remaining, that is a period cost, which are basically, you know, variable selling and admin cost and fixed selling and admin cost. So if you are doing variable costing, what's extra thing you will take in period cost? You can write in the chat box. What extra thing you will take in the period cost? You will take fixed production overheads as a period cost in variable costing. So this is the difference, right, everyone? So let's start the essay question. So we have taken this question from your IMA study support package, question number 1.3, Inman incorporation. Exam technique, first read the requirement. So they are saying you that use absorption costing, okay, use absorption costing and calculate manufacturing cost per unit. This is the first requirement. September 30 inventory value, this is the second requirement. And September net income, this is the third requirement. Okay. So three requirements in the same question. Then they say use variable costing, calculate the cost per unit, calculate the closing inventory value, and calculate the net income. Again, both the methods, right? Then, you know, when we will do question number 1 and 2, there will be some difference, or maybe not, depends. So we need to see, they are saying what is the main reason because of which income calculated in the previous two questions might differ. And you know very well, I just told you, what is the difference between them? Remember, what is the difference? This is the difference. This is the major difference, my friends. So you will say due to the treatment of fixed production overhead, there is a difference. Because in absorption costing, we consider fixed production overhead as a product cost. But in variable costing, we consider fixed production overhead as a period cost. So that's the answer for this question. Okay. So people are writing in the chat box fixed cost. No, this is wrong because fixed cost includes everything. You have to be specific. That is not fixed cost. That is fixed manufacturing overhead. Okay, please don't do this mistake in exam. You have to write properly. Fixed manufacturing overhead. Okay. Identify and discuss one advantage of using absorption costing and variable costing. So we need advantages for both of them. Like I said, my friends, for every topic you do, you need to make notes. Okay, the notes which you make you will retain more, you know. I definitely will help you out, but you have to make notes also. So for every topic you do, at least you need to know 2 to 3 advantages, disadvantages. So you can use your study material, my class notes, the official answers, you know. Even you can use Google, no problem. At the end of the day, you just need to write an exam good points. Yes, please ask me. Okay. So you can type in and then I will reply you.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, this variable selling and admin expense, whether it's variable and absorption and costing, it will consider as a period cost or
Yeah.
invariable cost.
This is what I wrote here. See, period cost. This is for both
Okay.
methods. This what I wrote is for
Okay.
both methods.
Okay.
Okay. So this is under both methods. This thing what I wrote below. So both they are same in terms of this green box which I made for you. So above I wrote, right, this highlighted thing is the only difference. Fixed production overhead is the only difference. Remaining everything is considered like below, like mentioned below. So you will take material labor and variable production overhead as a product cost. But additionally, you will take fixed production overhead also there if you are using absorption costing. If you talk about variable costing, so we will ignore it while we are calculating the product cost. Don't worry, we will solve the question. It will be easy for you, inshallah. So we need one advantage of absorption and variable. We will see. Then they say what is the one strength and one weakness of authoritative budget. See, from here you can know that they will target different sections of your syllabus. So this question is coming from budgeting area. Okay, and you know very well, right? What are the good things and bad things about authoritative and participative budgeting approaches? And then say identify and explain which will work best for this company. So we will read the scenario and we will see which is best for this company. Identify and explain one method the top managers can take to restrict budgetary slack. Okay, so we know many methods. If you remember, we have learning curve, we have zero-based budgeting concept, we have authoritative budgeting. All these are methods to restrict the budgetary slack, right? Anyways, so let's read the scenario, my friends. They say the company is a manufacturer of a single product and is starting to develop a budget for the coming year. Okay, see, single product. So from here you got to know, normally whenever you have single product, you don't use ABC costing. Okay, because single product. ABC costing means activity based costing, which we will do next time, inshallah. So single product, it's very simple to use absorption and variable costing. Multiple products, when you have, you better use activity based costing. Getting it? So remember this point. So we will also see this in the next class, that why for multiple products we should use activity based costing. Starting to develop a budget for the coming year, because cost of goods sold, cost of goods manufactured is the biggest item. The management is reviewing how costs are calculated. In addition, management wants to develop a budgeting system that motivates. See, we need to motivate the managers that they work towards the corporate goal. How to motivate the managers? By using authoritative budgeting or participative budgeting? This is the answer for question number 5. Remember, they asked you which budgeting method is best for this company. So definitely we need participative, right? Because in participative they will be motivated, you know. Normally in authoritative, managers, they think they are the budget is imposed on them and they are not so much motivated, you know. So you will recommend participative budgeting. Inman has incurred the following cost to make how many 100,000 units during the month of September. Okay, so that is our base. Basically 100,000 units is what, that is our base production. Then they gave you different amounts, you know, material, labor. See, they have not written in front of material that it is direct or indirect. So you will assume it is direct because look at the amount, how much it is. Getting it? So that is direct material, right? So my friends, this is direct, huh? Anyways, so direct labor, variable manufacturing overhead. So remember I told you these three things are same in both the methods. So we consider them as what? We consider them as product cost, right everyone? So if I quickly write here, I write here absorption A and I write here variable, okay, for you. And then I'm writing here the legend. So for example, I say, okay, if I tick, it means this is product cost. If I cross, it means it is period cost. Okay, let us see. So remember material, that is product cost or period cost? Yeah, can anyone tell me in the chat box quickly? Okay, so very nice. People are saying material is what? Product cost. So I'm making a tick here. Huh? This is not tick. This is V for variable. This is tick. So both of them, they consider material as a product cost. Okay. What about labor? Direct labor. Very nice. This is also a product cost in both the methods. What about variable manufacturing overhead? Very nice. It's also a product cost. Remember, I told you. So the methods are not fighting on these three things. Okay. Okay. Remember, what is variable selling and admin? Both the methods, right? It's a period cost in both the methods, right? Very nice. Fixed manufacturing overhead. Remember, this is the issue. This is the fight. This is the fight, my friends, between both the methods. Fixed manufacturing overhead. So every time they ask you a question on this topic, you need to look for fixed manufacturing overhead because that is the reason for difference. So in absorption, that is product, right? In variable, that is period. Okay, I hope it's clear like this. And fixed selling and admin, they are what? They are also period in both of them. Okay, so see, where is the difference? The difference is only here. Where is the difference? Here the difference. Remaining tick and cross is same if you see. Okay, so I hope you got the point. It's very simple topic, my friends. Pray that you get this type of question in exam. Okay, so let's see. Then they are saying you the company's September 1 inventory. September 1, if they are saying this is opening stock or closing stock. How do we know? Because see, in the requirement they were asking September 30 inventory value also, and we are doing for the month of September. So definitely September 1 will be opening and September 30 will be closing, right? So inventory consisted. So they said, okay, opening stock is how much? Opening stock is 10,000 units. Okay. Remember in the requirement they also asked you. They say what is the closing inventory value? So please note that they are not asking you the units. They are asking you what? What is the closing stock value? Okay. So my friends, then they say, okay, the value of the opening stock is how much? It is 72,000 using absorption costing, right? Okay, see, now they are not giving you for variable costing. They are only giving you opening stock value from absorption costing. Then they say total fixed cost and variable cost per unit have not changed during the past few months. Okay. In September, the company sold. These are your sales. How many are production? Remember, 100,000. How many are sales? 106. And what is the selling price? 12. So all this information we need why? To get this requirement, which is net income, right? So let us start the question. We will solve it and we will see how to get the unit cost first of all, and then we need the closing stock value, and then we need the net income, right? So to get the unit cost, when they are saying cost per unit, they are asking you product cost or period cost. When they are saying cost per unit, what is meaning cost per unit? They are asking product cost, right? Very nice. Okay. So product cost or manufacturing cost, same thing, huh? Inventory cost also you can say, because that is the amount which will go in inventory. So we will open an Excel sheet for solving this question. So we need for requirement 1, what we need? We need 4 things, right? So I will just make a note of it so I don't have to come here again and again. So I will say, okay, this I will copy here, right? Okay. So my friends, I am solving question number 1 for you, and we will see how much is the unit cost as per both the methods. Huh? So I am solving here 1.1. What do you mean by 1.1? 1.1 means I am solving the requirement 1 and I am calculating how much is cost per unit. Okay, then I will also write 2.1. So I am using variable costing and I am calculating cost per unit. Okay, so to just show you the comparison actually, right? So what we will include here, see, every time make headings. Tell the examiner that you are calculating unit cost as per absorption costing. You know, presentation is very important in exam. And here what you will solve. Okay, by the way, I hope you remember Excel sheets are not in exam as of now. So they will give you a notepad and you have to write on a notepad. So for every requirement there will be a new notepad. So you will write your answer, then you press next, you will go to the next notepad screen and you will write the second answer like this. Okay. So unit cost as per absorption costing. What I need, remember, I need the material, I need the labor, right? I need here the variable manufacturing overheads, okay, and you can write the fixed manufacturing overheads, right, everyone? So how much is that? 400, 120 and 200. Okay, same thing I will copy paste, but only these three. Remember, only these three are part of the product cost in variable costing, right? So you can total it. So you got to know that your total product cost as per absorption costing is 720,000, right, everyone? And how much is your total product cost as per variable costing? That is 520,000. So see, what is the difference? The difference is only 200,000. That is basically this green area which I have highlighted for you, which is the fixed manufacturing overhead. Got it, everyone? So this is the reason for the difference, which will come in a while. Okay, so I'm removing it now. I don't need this anymore. So this is your total. But see, they ask unit cost, right? To convert it into unit cost, what you will do, you will say number of units. Number of units sold or produced? Yeah, tell me in the chat box. I will write number of units sold or produced if I need the unit cost. Very nice. So I will take the production units and don't take sale units when you are calculating the unit cost. By the way, assume in the same question, in the same question, they are not talking about opening and closing stock. And they are not mentioning that units produced are 100,000. Instead, they are saying the units sold are 100,000. Then what you will do? Getting my question? I'm asking you that there is no opening and closing stock, and the examiner is not mentioning like this, production units are 100,000. Examiner is saying the units sold are 100,000. What does that mean? That means what? That means that when there is no opening closing stock, the units sold are equal to what? The units sold are equal to units produced. Right? So what you will do? You will take it as it is. I mean, you will consider it, right, as production units. So remember, when there is no opening closing, production is equal to sales. Okay. Anyways, let's go back to our question. So how many are the production units? Remember, 100,000. So both of them methods same, right? So if we divide, okay, will I divide 720 with 100 or 100 by 720? We need unit cost, right? So cost will be in numerator, right? Units will be in denominator, like this. Okay. So very simple. The answer is 7.2 here. This is the answer for question number 1.1. Okay. And this is the answer for question number 2.1. Right? Very clear. Please write yes in the chat box if everything is okay till now. Now they are saying you 1.2, I mean the second requirement of the first question. Remember, they were asking you closing stock value. Closing stock value. Okay. So to get the closing stock value, my friends, first of all, I need what? I need the closing stock units. Right? To get the closing stock value, what you need? You need two things. Number one is the closing stock units, and you need the unit cost. So when you multiply these two figures, you will get closing stock value. Okay. Here in this box you will get the closing stock value. Okay. So what we will do, basically, we will write here for the examiner that we are doing working number 1 below, okay, to calculate closing stock units. Okay, you can write here calculating closing stock. Again, you have to look at time also. If you have less time, don't write this heading here, just write working 1. Okay. So calculating closing stock units. How to know closing stock units? You need to remember that formula, which is sales is equal to opening stock add production minus closing stock. All of you remember this formula? Okay. So my friends, we know the sales. Remember how many were the sales in the question? 106, this one. Opening stock we also know 10,000. Production we also know 100,000. So can we get the closing stock? Very easily. We can have a balancing figure, right? If I need to convert, okay, by the way, this formula you will use when you are having units. Okay, this formula you will use when you are having units. If you are having the currency, I mean the cost, so the formula will become like this: cost of sales, because that is a formula of cost of sales, by the way. Opening stock, so opening stock value, you know, production cost, you know, minus closing stock value. Getting it, everyone? So we need this formula right now because we don't have the cost of sales right now available. We don't have the opening stock. We have, by the way, opening stock value, but I think we don't have cost of sale right now, right? Because that is coming ahead in 1.3. Anyways, whenever you have units available, so go for the units formula. So how many? Remember, 106, right? Is equals to opening stock was 10, remember, 10 plus production is 100 minus closing stock. If I need closing stock, how much is it? Right? So you will say closing stock is equals to, what you will do? You will bring sales on this side and you can send closing stock on the other side. So it will become 10 plus 100, right? Minus 106. Okay. So closing stock will become how much? 4. 4 means 4,000. Okay. Or 4,000. Right, everyone? So this 4,000 I am using here now. And also here. Unit cost, where is the unit cost? Remember, we already calculated just now above. So you can take it like this, 7.2 here. And you can also take it 5.2 here. Right? And then what you need to do? You need to multiply them. This is your closing stock value. Okay? Please write yes in the chat box if you got the point. Okay, so see, these are the answers for question number 1.2 and 2.2. Okay, see, there is a difference. Question in exam: closing stock value will always be higher in absorption costing as compared to variable costing. True or false? Always, huh? Remember, I am saying always. Closing stock value will always be higher in absorption costing as compared to variable costing. True or false? Think again. Okay, some people are saying false. What about others? Closing stock value will always be higher in absorption costing as compared to variable costing. Like in this case, see, 28,800 for absorption and 20,800 for variable. So we have 2 students now who are saying false, and 1, 2, 3, 4 are saying true. 5 are saying true. What about others? What about others, my friends? Everyone, please write true or false. Okay, so majority is true. So majority is the authority, right? So true is the answer. Okay, see, remember, in both the methods, this 4,000 will not change. Right or not? But the unit cost will change. But you know very well, in variable costing, we don't take this thing. Remember this thing, which is the fixed manufacturing overhead. Remember? So it's always like this, my friends. I mean to say, take another question. Unit cost will always be higher in absorption costing as compared to variable costing? True or false? Unit cost will always be higher in absorption costing as compared to variable costing. True or false? True. True, not false. True. See here, unit cost like here in 7.2. Why 7.2? Because we considered the fixed manufacturing overhead also. See, this is part of the 720,000. Getting it? But in this case, we don't take it. See, here I have not mentioned anything. Yellow, this is blank. It means we are excluding one figure from here. When we exclude a figure from variable costing, so definitely the answer will be less or not. Getting it? So they're saying, what if the fixed manufacturing overhead is 0? If it is 0, it will be same. It will be same. Getting it? But very less chance that it will be 0. Okay. Even if it is 0, it will be same. Okay. So if examiner is saying you, unit cost will always be higher in absorption costing as compared to variable costing. So this is a true statement, my friends. Okay. If you think like this, so some people in exam, not some people, I mean even me also, sometimes you start thinking from another angle, like this is a very nice angle. They are saying that what if it is 0? So definitely it will be same. But definitely you cannot base your true or false on this understanding. Why? Because see the question. So most probably it will be more or not. Yes, so it's true. Anyways, let's continue. The point to make is it will not be less. I mean the unit cost in absorption costing will not be less than variable costing. Okay. So anyways, I hope you got the point also. This one, that closing stock value will always be higher in absorption costing as compared to variable costing. It can be same also if there is no fixed manufacturing overhead. Okay, that is a valid point. So we have completed 1.1 and 1.2 and 2.1 and 2.2. Let's go for 1.3 and 2.3. So what is 1.3 and 2.3 basically? We need the net income. Remember what we need? We need the net income. How to get the net income, my friends? What we need to do? Shall we make the income statement? Right? To get the net income, we need to write sales, cost of sales, gross profit, other expenses, net income. Right? Let's quickly draw the income statement for absorption costing. So you will write the heading, we are calculating net income from absorption costing. Okay. And we will also write here, we are calculating net income from variable costing. Of course, we need to take selling and admin also when we are calculating the net income. Right? Okay. So first thing, sales. Okay. In absorption costing, what is the format? We write sales, then we write cost of sales. Right? The cost of sales, how we calculate it basically? We write opening stock, then we add the production we add the production or purchases, whatever is the business. If the business is retail type business, wholesale, so purchases. If the business is manufacturing, production. Opening stock at production less closing stock. Okay, this is the formula. Everyone please correct me if I am wrong. Okay, sales less cost of sales. Am I wrong? People are writing yes. Gross profit, right? So sales minus cost of sales is what? Gross profit. Now see, when I talk about this area is basically the product cost area. Getting it, everyone? Okay, please remember this highlighted area right now, which in front of you I have highlighted. This is called product cost area. Here I write the product cost. So in short, you can say above gross profit, we write the product cost. Below gross profit, we write the period cost. Okay. Okay. Then you will deduct the, okay, I can also write for you here if you want to remember this. I'm talking about product cost here. Because see, we are talking about opening stock, closing stock. So that is part of the product cost. Okay. So here, period cost. Okay. So period cost includes everything which we have not considered in the product cost. And what is that? Remember? 4 things we took already. Remember, 2 things were there. Remember? Here, variable selling and admin, 80,000. Fixed selling and admin, 300,000. So I'm writing here variable selling and admin and fixed selling and admin, and then you get the net income. Okay, so this is the format for absorption costing. What is the format for variable costing? Sales, same, no difference in the sales. Then you write here not cost of sales. Okay, you can write variable cost of sales because we consider the variable cost, right, in the product cost, remember? So you can say product cost. So what? Same formula same, opening stock, add production, less closing stock. Then we don't call it gross profit. What we call it? Contribution margin. Okay, what we call it? Contribution margin. Okay, like I said in CMA part 2, almost everything is based on variable costing. So you will use this word a lot, contribution margin there. Okay, so if you remember, still we have one variable cost pending, which we take in both the methods we consider as a period cost, right? So because of that reason, what you can do here, you will write here, this is manufacturing contribution margin. And then what you do, you deduct this variable selling and admin to get what? To get contribution margin, the total contribution margin. Getting it, everyone? Okay. So my friends, you can say that, as I said, this highlighted area, this is only the product cost. Below this, everything is period cost. So even variable selling and admin, that is a period cost. That's why I have kept it below the manufacturing contribution margin. Getting it? But to reach the contribution margin, you have to deduct all the variable cost, including selling and admin. But it doesn't mean that this thing is a product cost. No, this is period cost. Okay, because see, I am not including this as part of my opening or closing stock. Okay, please write yes in the chat box if you got this classification. And then you will write here less the fixed cost. What you will write? Less fixed cost, because only fixed cost is remaining for us. And there are 2 types of fixed costs in this question, remember? Fixed manufacturing cost and fixed selling and admin, right? So in totality you can flush them out. See, this is called flushing out in the same period in totality. That's why it's called period cost, because nothing out of this amount will go to the next period. So that's why it's called period cost. Okay, and then finally you will get your net income. Okay, so remember how many units we sold and how much is the selling price? 106 and 12 per unit. Okay, so 106,000 into 12. This is my revenue in both the methods, right, everyone? Opening stock in absorption costing. Remember they gave you this figure in the scenario. They told you that opening cost is 10,000 valued at 72,000 using absorption costing. So I am writing here 72,000. Okay, this I took directly from the scenario. But what about this? I mean, we don't know, right, this figure, because they only gave you the opening stock value through absorption costing. To know this yellow area, they gave you a hint in the question. They said total fixed cost and variable cost have not changed during the past few months, right? It means that the unit cost which we have calculated above, this 5.2 and 7.2, they are same during the past few months. And that is the reason, if you can verify also, remember how many units are there for opening stock? 10,000. Remember they said 10,000 is the opening stock. If you multiply 10,000 with 7.2, remember what is the unit cost? 7.2. So if I multiply 10,000 with 7.2, how much will come? Getting it, everyone? So I'm writing a comment here for you that you can verify this figure. You can verify this figure, right, by multiplying 10,000 with 7.2. Okay, so I mean, because of this logic, you can easily calculate this figure here. Getting it, everyone? So you will write here 10,000 into 5.2. Now it's like with like. Okay, so I did not assume it, basically that's mentioned in the question, that's why I have done like this. I hope it's clear with everyone. Please write yes in the chat box if it's clear with everyone. Okay, very nice. Now see how many units we produced. Remember, 100,000. And how much is the unit cost in absorption costing? 7.2. So this is your production cost, 720,000. Remember how much was the production cost? The same amount here written, 720,000. And how much is the production cost in variable costing? 100,000 into 5.2. So 520,000. How much is the closing stock? This we have already calculated in the above requirement. Remember here, this one. Okay. And the closing stock from variable costing we also have here 2,800. Okay. So my friends, this is in minus, right? Okay, this is in minus. So we got the cost of sale here, which is these three figures, and we also got the variable cost of sale, which is this figure, right? If we need the gross profit, what we do? This minus this. If we need manufacturing contribution margin, what we do? This minus this. Then variable selling and admin we have in the question, remember that was 80 and fixed selling and admin is 300. So 80, 300. If you need net income, what you will do? This gross profit minus these two figures. So 128,800 is your net income from absorption costing. Okay, let's see how much is the net income from variable costing. So question for you before we move on. The net income from variable costing will be different or not in this scenario? Some people are saying yes, some people are saying no. It means the topic is not clear with you, right? So let me make it clear for you. So the answer for this question is that the net income from variable costing will be different. Why it will be different? Because the opening and closing stock is there. There is a movement of inventory. So whenever there is a movement of inventory, the net income in both the methods will be different. Okay. And if there is no movement in opening and closing stock, like opening stock is 10,000, right? If the closing stock is also 10,000 units, so both the methods will report same net income. We will prove this also in a while. Okay. Again, if the opening and closing stock is same, both the methods will show the same net income. If the opening and closing stock is different, like in this question, remember opening stock is 10,000 units and closing stock is 4,000 units, right? So then both the methods will show different results. Let's see. And then we will prove also why this is the case. So variable selling and admin is here with us, same 80,000, right? If I need the contribution margin total, what I will do, this minus this. Okay, remember how much was fixed manufacturing cost? It was 200,000. This is the main thing. And selling and admin is how much? 300,000. So how much is net income here? This much. Okay. So my friends, it's different. It's in front of you that it's different. So this is the answer for question number 1.3 and 2.3. Please write yes in the chat box if you got the point. Now we will move on and we will do the question number 3. Okay, which is they're asking you identify and explain one reason why the income calculated in the previous two questions might differ. Now see here they are saying identify and explain only. No calculation, but in the next essay question they will also ask you to do calculation. So here itself I am telling you the calculation also, so next question you can do it. So remember what is the difference, why there is a difference between them? Very simple point, we know very well, from the top we know this yellow thing is the difference. Okay, so you will say that the income, okay, use the wording from the question. They say the income calculated in the previous two questions might differ. Okay, so we say the income calculated in the previous questions is different because of the treatment of fixed manufacturing overheads, right, under both methods, right? The income calculated in the previous questions is different because of the treatment of fixed manufacturing overheads under both methods. Then you leave a line and write absorption costing considers fixed manufacturing overheads as a product cost, right? While variable costing considers it as a period cost. Getting it, everyone? So try not to do spelling mistakes in exam. Product absorption costing considers fixed manufacturing overheads as a product cost, while variable costing considers it as a period cost. Okay, this is the answer for this question. Now if they ask calculation, we can do the calculation. This is also called reconciliation to prove it. So my friends, first of all, what you will do is you will start with the income from variable costing. Okay, what is the income from variable costing? Remember, it is this one. Okay, when you do the reconciliation, start with income from variable costing, and then you will say add or less, increase or decrease, okay, in inventory, increase decrease in inventory level, right, multiply by fixed production overhead absorption rate per unit. Okay, fixed production overhead absorption rate per unit. What is this fixed production overhead absorption rate per unit? I will tell you here. You know this very well already. When I say fixed production overhead absorption rate per unit or fixed manufacturing overhead absorption rate per unit. So you will say, okay, fixed manufacturing overhead divided by production units, right? So remember how much was fixed manufacturing overhead? It was 200,000. And how much is production unit? 100,000. So it was 2. Remember, this 2 is the difference between this 7.2 and 5.2. Getting it? So that is that 2 basically. I hope you got the point. Now my friends, anyways, so you know very well how much was my opening stock, remember? It was 10,000, right? My opening stock was how much? 10,000. My closing stock is how much? We calculated, right? How much it was? It is 4,000, right? So by how much inventory is going down? Decrease, right? So you will say inventory is decreasing by 6,000 units, right? So here you will write 6,000 and you will multiply this with the 2, which is your overhead absorption rate per unit. So how much will come? 6,000 into 2. Now magic will happen. You want to see the magic? Let's see the magic. So how much is income from absorption costing? So we need to add or deduct this 12,000. Tell me. We need to deduct, right? My friends, decrease. See, decrease. So decrease means you need to less. You need to less. That's why, see, to make it simple for you, I told you, write income from variable costing first. Because like this you can do, if you need to add, it will increase. Sorry, if it will increase, you will add. If it will decrease, you will deduct. Okay, so that will be simple for you, this calculation. So this minus this. See how much is coming? 128,800. So remember, we have the same figure here. See magic? Magic or not? Right? Very nice. So this is not required in this question, but like I said, in the next essay question, they ask you this calculation, so you have to show like this. Okay? Please write yes in the chat box if everything is okay with you. So we have done till third one. Okay, then advantage of absorption costing, very simple. It is useful for external reporting. It considers all the production costs involved when we are calculating the product cost. Okay. What is the problem of what is the advantage of variable? It is useful for internal reporting. It let us know, that how much of the cost is variable and how much of the cost is fixed, because we separate them. It is useful for decision making purposes. So this is advantage of variable costing. Then authoritative budgeting, strength and weakness. What is the good thing about authoritative budgeting? That it's easy to implement, quick, right? Authoritative. Anything you can write in the chat box if you like. So authoritative budgeting, what is the good thing? It is quick and it is less costly. What about the weakness of authoritative budgeting? Demotivation, because when you will impose, the managers will get demotivated. Okay. What about participative? Good thing. The opposite you can write now. The good thing of participation is motivation. They will get motivated. And what is the problem of participative? It will take more time, more meetings, more discussions, more cost involved, right? And the main weakness of participative is what? Budgetary slack. What is the main weakness of participative? Budgetary slack, because when you will allow them to come up with their budgets, so they will most probably include slack. Okay. And this is a strength of authoritative, that there is less chance of slack. Why? Because you are setting the budget, so most probably there will be less slack. Okay. Again, slack is a risk and it can never be eliminated. So in both the cases there can be slack. So examiner can ask you, in authoritative budgeting, there is no chance of slack. True or false? In authoritative budgeting, there is no chance of slack. True or false? False, because there can be a chance of slack in both the methods, right? But it will be less. Examiner is asking you, in authoritative budgeting, the chance of slack is less as compared to participative budgeting. True or false? This is true. Getting it, everyone? Very nice. And then we recommended which method for this company? We recommended participative budgeting. Why? Because they need to motivate the managers for working towards the corporate goals. What is question number 6? They say identify and explain one method to restrict the budgetary slack. So one of the methods is authoritative budgeting, right? As we just discussed. Similarly, in the labor budget, you can use learning curve analysis to restrict the slack. Remember? We have already done that topic in section B. And the third method is you can use zero-based budgeting. So when you use zero-based budgeting, what happens is you say ignore the last year and bring everything from scratch, justify every figure. So most probably you will trace the slack. Okay, but again, there is no confirmation. There is no confirmation that slack will be removed, but definitely chance is less. Okay, so these are the answers you can write in 4, 5 and 6. So this is the completion of this essay question. See you in the next class, inshallah.